Hello, Jantans and Jantanites. Jason Desmond from the Jantan Collective with another edition of What's Up With That, where we question, we learn, and we grow. Please do subscribe, like, and most importantly, comment below because we want to hear from you. Maybe it's something that we talked about before and you haven't thought about it, or maybe there's something that you want us to talk about in our later editions. Get in touch right now. Now, something I discovered recently, and it's very fascinating for me, on Google Trends, the popularity of veganism is at an all-time high. That's crazy, right? So much so that KFC, the company that literally has the word chicken in it, has come up with this, the Zero Chicken Burger. That's amazing. Is it a step in the right direction? What's up with that? For this chat, we've got someone who's very, very close to us. She's been living the life for many years already. She's a performer. She's a plant-based lifestyle advocate. She's a friend of ours, Davina Goh. Davina, how you been, man? It's been like years. And how's MCO and COVID and everything been?
It's been, I think when you constantly look for the good, you find that it's not as bad as it seems. Yeah, like my bank account's a little bit smaller, but I find abundance in so many other things.
Yeah, because you can do a lot of work from home nowadays also, right?
Yeah, you can do a lot of work from home. You end up being able to have more family time. We finally had time to, do up the house and declutter and try out gardening and recipes that would take hours, but you're too scared to do it on any other day because you're out and about and doing work. So yeah, a lot of little things here and there.
So wait, you've been Marie Kondoing at home, is it? Have you been cleaning up like crazy?
I've never watched this Marie Kondo stuff.
Neither have I.
I know that there's this hashtag like Spark Joy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I still call it decluttering because I'm old school like that.
Nice. And speaking of old school but going new school, actually no, like you've been doing this for a long time. You've been vegan for as long as I've known you. How long have you been vegan, really?
6 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm vegetarian before that for 4 years. So altogether meatless for 10 years.
How did it happen? Was it during your Shaolin times that you started to go vegan or vegetarian? What happened?
So I went vegetarian in 2012. And that was because that was just from 12 years of me wanting to be vegetarian. So for the longest time, like I had this, had an ethical inclination to be vegetarian, but I was told by my parents that it's not possible because there's no way you can be healthy on a vegetarian diet.
Ooh, wow. Yeah. Okay.
So they said whenever you go out and hang out with your college mates and, whenever you spend time out of the house, you can eat whatever you want, but when you're with the family, you must eat your meat. So that was
serious. Wow.
That was a very painful compromise I had to make. But it was a blessing in disguise because it gave me 12 years of watching documentaries, reading books, reading articles, everything that gave me the proper preparation to do vegetarianism the right way when the time was right.
Right.
Yeah. So I was mentally, emotionally, physically prepared to go into it before I even realized that I was ready to begin with.
So wait, when you were doing the Shaolin thing, you were eating meat in the Shaolin temple?
I was vegetarian.
All right, okay.
Yeah. I went vegan when I got back, very shortly after I got back. So that was, I think, in 2015, and I got back from China in early 2014.
Right.
Yeah,
so,
I think that's the time.
How's the family and friends taking it so far? Has anyone converted? And because you were doing it now, they're like, let's try it as well.
Oh, it's really interesting to see how when I grow as a person and as a vegetarian and eventually a vegan, the family grows with me. And you realize that it's not just a journey you take by yourself. It's a journey of everybody with you on that boat because you can't do it without the support of your loved ones. Yeah. So when I was a teenager, there was a lot of condescending attitude about why I wanted to go vegetarian. And I remember just the comments and how I was just like, I wasn't respected for my choices. And now I've come to a point in my life where like my family respects and celebrates me for who I am. My mom is the first person to tell all her friends that my daughter is a vegan. She does all these vegan things. I go to all her talks and her workshops. And before that, she was the one who I was bickering with, like, barely like, I can still, it's still so fresh, you know, just fighting with pieces of chicken being thrown across the table. It's just one piece. It won't kill you. Yeah, but you like,
Wow, it was like that.
yeah.
Oh.
So now she's actually learning for the first time in her she's in her 60s, and she's finally evolving with me, and she's learning how to veganize the dishes that I grew up with, and that is so amazing.
Wait, when you say veganize, that means does she eat it, or does she cook just for you, but she
cooks
still
it
doesn't go
just
for it?
for me.
Right.
But on some days where she feels it's a bit more fun to cook for herself, then yeah, she'll veganize. She'll have a nice vegan dinner with me, and then she'll just sit down and have it with me.
That's nice. Is it hard to be vegan in Malaysia?
Oh, it's hard to say, because if you ask a vegan if it's hard, I mean, I've been doing it for 6 years. So for me, it's just I do what I do. So what seems like a huge trouble to some people is just like I don't see it as a trouble. It's just something that it's just an extra step that I don't see as an extra step anymore. Like reading labels or asking the waiter about what's vegan on the menu and asking to veganize this and that.
Yeah, but when you do that though, like back in the day, like what are your vegan options? We have cucumbers for you if you want. Is that as bad as it is? Like that?
Yeah, we got the garden salad, and we can take out the dressing if you want. Yeah, but yeah, in the past, I think 5 years, the choices have really. It has really bloomed. I don't know what happened and how it happened, but in the little bubble that veganism was in Malaysia, it just exploded. So it's so much easier. Like there's no easier time than now to try out going plant-based in Malaysia.
That's true. Because maybe in the past 4 years, I think because of the culture in the US or in Europe or whatever it is, I think it just got a lot easier being vegan in Malaysia. But does that mean you eat at home a lot, or you used to eat home a lot because you couldn't find options and you eat out a lot more now?
I've always cooked at home, so it wasn't any different for me. I mean, it's just so much easier when you learn how to cook. Like the reason why I started cooking in my whole life was because I started going pescatarian and eventually vegetarian. And I just found it easier to just know what was in my food. So what was the question?
Like, can you even eat out? Like,
Can. Like it's like I won't be so extreme as to not support any non-vegan restaurants because you don't know how they cook the food, or like if they use the same utensils or the same wok, because I don't do that to my mom.
Oh, right. So you're not because there are some vegans who are like that, you know.
Well, if you do it for religious reasons, that's quite valid. And I'm sure that there are some vegans out there who are particular with that kind of thing. Right. But for me, like, I practice a bit more practicality to it, because the definition of veganism is, like, there's one definition which I really like and I always refer back to. It's on thevegansociety.com. It's veganism is a philosophy and a way of life that tries to avoid, wherever it is possible and practicable, to avoid the exploitation and cruelty to animals.
Right.
So for me, if I'm thinking, okay, I want to avoid exploitation, but is it practical right now? Is it possible right now? And if there's really no two ways about it, then that's when
it becomes a survival kind of thing at some point, that you only have to eat it just to survive. You might have to eat meat. Like, is that?
No. I mean, I won't go out of like my parameters of what survival is still very vegan.
Right.
Like if something has traces of egg, or
right.
Like if I travel and the only thing is egg and rice.
Right.
And you're at a festival, which is what happened actually a few years ago. I'm not going to be living on rice for 5 days.
Right. You're right. That's true. Right. And also, I guess because we think like, hey, but if you drink milk, there's no cruelty, but technically the way the animals are, in the farms and everything, battery farms and whatnot, there is some level of, not all again, but some level of cruelty in that sense, right?
Yeah, definitely. When I found out that there's so much cruelty in the dairy industry that a part of you thinks that the cow is actually better off dead. That was when I realized, okay, I think I might as well just go vegan because you hear about how how milk cows are bred to give milk, and how they kept there to sustain this whole milk production industry, and what happens when they're done. It's like, okay, I don't want to be a part of this narrative anymore.
And also the kind of stuff that actually goes into the cow. I mean, like that means what's being churned out, it can be good for us also in many ways, right?
Yeah, like hormones and actually. So when I went vegan, my period became regular again, and I didn't. And I didn't put two and two together. But one of my friends said it might be because of all the hormones that they put in milk. I'm like,
right, because that means your body's not all out of whack, so it got into something regular again. Interesting. All right. But did you? Because I know it was in China when you became vegetarian. Did you watch some video that made this such a passionate thing for you, or did you read something that like, wow, okay, it clicked? This is too much. Animals are suffering. I can't do this anymore. Well,
I always knew because like when I was telling you about the 12 years that I had to do all this research, there were things here and there that I decided to read because I knew that a part of me wanted to be vegetarian, but I wanted to know concrete evidence and concrete reasons why it was a good thing to do. So I think by this point I was already vegetarian, but I just wanted to know like, okay, yes, there's no turning back. Was watching the documentary called Earthlings. It's not really a documentary.
What's it called?
Earthlings, yeah. Okay. I won't say, it's a documentary, but but to me, it's like a really long, drawn out PETA ad.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, right.
But I knew what I was going to get myself into. And I was like, okay, I need to sit myself down. I need to see the horrors of the animal exploitation industries to know what is actually going on. And through watching that, I realized that the leather industry is not a byproduct of the meat industry. It's actually a totally different industry where cows are being raised just for leather.
Right.
So I thought, okay, at least I can still keep my leather bags and, whatever I have, it's more environmentally friendly because it will last me longer. And then you find out
you watch that and you're like, hell no, right?
Yeah.
Earthlings. I got to put that down somewhere. I got to watch that.
Not for the faint of heart.
Okay. Yeah.
And also, that's like really old school. That's a really old school approach to making people go vegetarian or vegan.
Scare tactics in a way, right?
Yeah.
But still, like I didn't know about it, and I would consider myself to be slightly aware because I'm into a lot of things that's very eco-friendly and stuff. Like I live as eco-friendly as I can be, but this is that one step that I think I need to take to be more, right? Because I don't mind watching it. Because I watched what's that show called on Netflix? Oh, shit.
There's so many.
Game Changer. I watched Game Changer, right?
Yeah.
So now I know what people say like but it's like it's too preachy. You know what I mean? It's just one side of the story. I'm like, yeah. But then again, we get one side of the story in the news and when we watch whatever else anyway, right? So you never get both sides. So when I watched that, I'm like, hey, you know what? There is some truth to it. Like one of the world number one tennis player right now. He just freaking won the Australian Open in probably one of the toughest conditions ever. It's super hot and everything. And he blazed through it. Not many people like him. I'm on the fence about him as well. But Novak Djokovic is vegan. He has vegan restaurants all over the place as well. And he's super strong. So when you watch stuff like that, and I watch Game Changer, I go, there might be some truth to it that kind of that kind of pushes me towards it to the point that I'm actually even considering, hold on, this.
Yeah.
You tried it. How was it?
I tried it. Yeah. So I haven't had fast food in, I can't even remember. Oh yeah. The last time I had a fish burger at a fast food restaurant, this is when I was still pescatarian. I had a fever for like a full day. And the next day it was gone. I'm like, oh my God.
But were you constantly eating fast food at that particular time? Or that was like a one-off?
No, that was like, okay, I haven't had a burger in a long time. Let me just have like a set meal. And then I had it and I felt like crap the whole day. I thought, it's like, it felt like the flu. And the next day it was gone. I'm like, I don't know what they put in this stuff, but I'm glad I think I better stop. Like,
which makes you wonder how it is that some people is like, oh, I'm feeling really down right now. I need a burger from a fast food joint. They eat it and then they're well. And I'm like, dude, how sick is your body that fast food makes you feel good, right?
Yeah.
But I'm not against fast food because I love, like, I have my cheat days and everything, right? But is this technically vegan?
Oh
though?
my God, that reminds me of my husband one time. He was teased by a friend. He was like, let's go to a fast food joint. He's like, no, I'm vegan. And then his friend was saying, oh, but there's no meat in there anyway. You can still go. Like, what did they put in it?
I got
It's
into
not real
this.
food.
So we were like, hey, we're going to speak to Davina. And I'm like, oh my God, because I just heard about this. And then the other famous burger place, they actually had another meatless burger. They were doing it in Singapore. And I'm like, I got to try this because otherwise I would never, ever try this, Davina. Let me just tell you this. So I'm like, because we're doing this, I'm like, I might get that burger and just see how it actually tastes. But then we were like, we watched the video of you eating the KFC Zero burger, KFC Zero chicken burger.
Zero chicken burger.
On a scale of 1 to 10, since the last time you had fast food, all right?
Yeah.
And that wasn't a very good experience anyway. How would you rate this burger?
Hard to tell because, JD, I've been off it for it tasted like a Colonel burger, and it took me straight back to my college days where I would just whack 3 at a time.
Right.
Because they were like 2 ringgit a pop.
Right.
So, I don't have that much of a prompt reference to what it used to taste like. So for me, and my palate is totally clean.
Yeah.
I haven't had these kinds of foods in ages. Whatever they put in that stuff just lit up the parts of my brain that went, yes, this is amazing. So I'm sure because I haven't had a chicken burger in so long, anything that tasted remotely like it,
right,
I think just brought a lot of excitement back into my life. So maybe that was why my reaction was the way it was.
Well, so you got in a way nostalgic?
Well, I don't know if it was nostalgic, but when I bit into it, I'm like, wow, okay, this is what it tasted like. Not that I miss it,
right?
But it was like, wow, okay. It was just a nice revisit. I won't be like, oh, those were their days. It was like, okay, this was an interesting experience.
What's in this though? I'm going to look at it right now. So it's just the regular bun.
Oh, you haven't tried it yet?
No, it's.
Oh my God!
Look at it. It's right here. So I want to eat it in front of you so I want to get a proper reaction. What's in this?
I thought you tried it and you were gonna tell me that it was so.
No, I want to try it right now.
And dude.
That's not cheese. That's mustard, right? I think that's mustard.
So I believe they put regular mayonnaise and they've got spicy barbecue sauce.
Yeah.
Do they have cheese in it? I'm not sure.
I don't know. There's this yellowish kind of thing inside there. That might be mustard. I don't know.
Oh.
Then there's like lettuce and stuff.
Yeah. So they've collaborated with Quorn, QUORN, and they have a patented technology where they produce mycoprotein, which is protein made out of fungus, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Really?
That didn't mean to sound unappetizing. But yeah, they managed to create some crazy meat out of fermented fungus.
Yeah, don't work in the marketing department. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna go for it. I'm not even gonna put any extra condiments on this. I'm just gonna go.
Go for it.
Okay. Looks like chicken though, to be honest.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever. Let's just go for it.
Okay.
Fungus. Thanks a lot. That's the only thing that's in my head right now, man. Okay, here we go. Huh? I don't know how I feel about this. It actually tastes like a chicken patty from KFC.
Right?
It tastes like just a very big chicken nugget.
Right? Yeah.
Oh, wait, oh my God, this doesn't taste too bad, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's okay.
What is going on here? my brain is telling me it's chicken. Like, what the hell?
Right?
It even looks like chicken, for crying out loud. What the hell?
Yeah, we live in exciting times.
My God. Good job, fungus.
Yeah. Good job, Quorn.
I have no idea how I feel.
Is that your first time trying any kind of plant-based technology?
Yes.
Wow.
I've never tried anything like this. Well, the last time I did everything is I can't believe it's not butter.
Oh, well done. I'm so glad you're up for trying it.
I'm gonna finish this because honestly it tastes pretty okay. It is so actually, you know what? Plant-based technology I don't know whether, like, if you go to those old school vegetarian shops and everything, and then you get the mock meat,
Oh yeah.
that's plant-based technology also in a way, because it's everything's soy, but everything's like, I don't know, it's so processed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that I think that's kind of an old school technology where they were just trying to emulate as much as they could meat without thinking about the nutritional consequences of creating something so processed.
Yeah. I remember I went to an Indian rice place one time, banana leaf, right? And I said,
Yeah.
I tried being vegetarian for, I think, all of maybe a couple of weeks, right? And I ordered their vegetarian set. Then he asked me, you want mutton or you want whatever else, right? I'm like, no, I want vegetarian. Yeah. But you want mock mutton? I'm like, okay, let me try the mutton. And he came over and I tasted it. I'm like, dude, this thing really tastes like mutton. And I'm like, what the hell? I don't know how I feel about it because the texture, everything actually tastes like meat. So that's another thing I'm wondering about, because if I'm doing this and I don't want to, because I'm thinking about animal cruelty and whatnot, right? And then I'm thinking I'm eating meat. I don't know how I feel about it. Is it like, is there like a little bit of a conflict in your mind whenever you eat something like this?
I guess it depends on what your purpose is for going plant-based. I think if you're doing it for cruelty, for the sake of reducing suffering, then I don't see any harm in eating mock meat. If it's something that if you want to keep the taste and textures of what your diet has without any compromise on, what kind of lives are compromised by getting the food on your plate, then I don't see any harm in it. But
right.
I mean, it's to each their own. Some people would not stand for that at all. Some people are cool with it. So it's really subjective. For me, it's like I would try it once in a blue moon for novelty's sake, but I won't go out of my way to always seek the taste and texture of meat. Yes, no. Like I've always preferred the texture and the taste of vegetables. In fact, when I was a kid, I remember whenever my mom would pack us lunch, and now I think about it, my mom was a freaking superhero. She would make lunches for 4 kids every single day.
Wow.
For us throughout until we were done with our O levels. And I think about it like, oh my God, I can't even do that for myself when I'm a grown up for one person. So I remember whenever she packed something with, she never made anything vegetarian. So whenever I brought my lunch to school, if there was any way I could take out the pieces of meat, like if there was a fried rice with pieces of meat in it, I'll be like, and then I would eat all the bits of meat first because those are the bits I like the least.
You gotta get it done and over with, right?
Yeah. And then I'd have this like pseudo vegetarian meal. And I'm like, now I can have my lunch.
Right.
So I wasn't your average kid.
I suppose most other people will go, hey, char siu, I'll leave that for the last.
Yeah.
Because I want to enjoy that the most.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, you are what you eat, I suppose. And if you felt like you enjoyed vegetables a lot more back in the day anyway, but I suppose for a lot of people who like thoroughly love meat and then they watch the video, what Earthlings, right? I wonder how they would feel about eating meat after that. Let's just say they do go vegan, and then do they have withdrawals in a way? Like, oh my God, I need meat so badly. I wonder if they ever have that.
Well, it's different experiences for each person. Some people do it really impulsively, that they don't prepare themselves for consequences and withdrawal symptoms and stuff. So the fallout rate is actually I think about at least 80% drop out
fallout
when they try and go. Yeah, they fall out of it because they don't know what they're getting themselves into.
They go into it because it's a fad in a way.
Not really a fad, but some people I feel they're made of that. They know they have the metal to go the full cold turkey and never turn back. Yeah. But most of us aren't like that. So when a lot of people try going vegan because they get suddenly moved, you don't know how, like they go into it without taking into consideration the attachments we have, the emotional attachments we have to meat, the physical attachments that we have to meat. We're definitely going to be experiencing transitional changes. We don't have the enzymes to digest a totally different diet that you're not used to. So that's going to bring about like uncomfortable physical sensations, like, diarrhea, nausea, bloating,
Do you go through
fever.
that really when you first
I mean,
get into it?
each person has their own experiences. So if you're not well read into what to expect, then some people will just figure, wow, I tried, but I guess it's not for me. But actually, it's just a matter of what I feel the best approach is really taking your time.
Yeah.
So I had, my journey would span like 12 years. I stopped eating beef the moment I wanted to go. Like, remember I was telling you that I had these 12 years of educating myself?
Yeah.
The one compromise I managed to make with my parents was, okay, Davina's not going to eat any more beef or lamb or mutton.
Right.
So those 12 years, I was dropping off the meats one by one in terms of how big the animal was. So like all the four-legged ones were off first, and then the chicken, and then the seafood. So by the time I went vegetarian, I was pescatarian. And by the time I was going vegan, I'm lactose intolerant anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So I had all the time in the world to transition, and I didn't feel any kind of, like everything was so seamless.
Right.
Yeah.
Actually, if you were to, how could I put this? Like, if you were to properly define veganism, that means no milk, no eggs, no meat,
No honey.
even honey.
Mm-hmm.
What's wrong? Oh, cause
Bees.
you farm bees in a way.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's an animal byproduct.
What do you drink right now? Do you drink like almond milk? Do you drink all other kinds of milk?
Yeah. So up until MCO, I wasn't making my own milk at all. I was just buying milk, like the regular cheap soy milk that you get from the supermarket. But MCO, you get a bit more resourceful because you don't have that much budget to buy all the imported plant milk. So started making my own soy milk, and now I'm into making nut milk. So yeah, any kind of milk, I have it already. For example, the easiest milk I've learned to make since last August, I learned from a plant-based chef, is literally taking a couple of tablespoons of rolled oats.
Okay.
Blending it in water for 20 seconds, straining it, and then you have oat milk.
Really?
Yeah.
Just from the rolled oats that you can buy off the shelf.
Yeah. It was like, oh my God, where has this been my whole life?
Interesting. All right. So so it's you're not like, oh, I'm not gonna drink any other kinds of milk because I can't get it anymore. So, but you still get your little. Because in my mind, I'm thinking like I always want something creamy in my mouth in a way sometimes. So that at least is still there, right?
Yeah.
But there are a lot of misconceptions about veganism, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like veganism is not vegetarianism, obviously, right? So what's the real difference?
Yeah, so vegetarianism is more of a diet, but veganism is more of a lifestyle. So a vegetarian could just abstain from eating meat, but they could still, some would still wear leather, some would still use beauty products that are not cruelty free. And they won't, I think they won't be so they just won't be so particular with the choices they make in their daily consumer lives. But veganism is a little bit, it's more all encompassing.
Yeah, it's a lifestyle. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lifestyle. It's a way of life. Yeah.
Now, another misconception that a lot of that crops up, and I've actually seen it in print in everywhere. Basically, vegans don't get enough nutrition, which is why I watched when I watched Game Changer, it was like so mind blowing for me, right? So.
Yeah.
For someone who's been doing this for many years now, vegans they're scrawny and then they're very malnourished and they can't build muscle. True or false?
False. Well, it depends. If you don't do it the right way, then there's like any other diet. Like if you don't do it the right way, if you don't do your homework, it's anyone who doesn't do their homework with nutrition and eating the right stuff, whatever their diet is not going to be good news. So there are people who do it for ethical reasons without doing the background research on what their body actually needs. And everybody, regardless of their diet, deserves that kind of knowledge. And you can easily get scrawny, or you can easily get overweight because potato chips and and
Exactly.
soda is vegan too.
Because technically, I could go on a diet that's
You could.
beer and potato chips.
You could.
And I'd be technically, I'm vegetarian and vegan already, right?
Yeah. However, there are some beers and some wines that are not considered vegan because of the filtration process that involves some kind of animal product.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn, I'm gonna talk to you more about this because I love beer, right? So I'm like, that's my thing right now. Okay, so we talked a little bit about this earlier. So you can't drink milk, or you don't drink milk. I think I gotta stop using the word "can" because
I drink plant-based milk.
Do you get enough calcium from that though? Where do you get the calcium from?
Calcium comes from
building bones. You need calcium.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to address this myth about milk. So there was a study that came out in from Harvard some years back, and it studied a group of women who, I can't remember that there was like a control group, and I don't really know. I didn't do. Yeah, I did statistics. Oh, what was it? I did psychology so long ago, but I can't really remember how to explain it properly. But yeah, it showed that a group of women who drank milk regularly had higher chances of hip fractures than those who didn't drink milk. And
what? Really?
And yeah, so the link was that the animal protein in milk is acidic, and acidity draws out calcium from your bones to neutralize it in your body.
Right. So basically, we've been fed lies. Drink more milk so you get more calcium to build healthy bones. So for women, you don't get osteoporosis, but really drinking milk is the one that's actually causing it.
Correct. Yeah. So yeah, you got to be careful with the kind of information you absorb and where you get it from, because the industry is powerful, man.
Okay. So where do you get your calcium from then?
So I get my calcium from everything, I guess. Vegetables, sesame seeds are very high in calcium. Dark green leafy vegetables are very good for you, and we have that abundantly in Malaysia.
Yeah.
I take as well blackstrap molasses.
Mm-hmm.
That's very high in calcium, magnesium, and iron. So I take that especially around my period.
Right.
To supplement myself.
Okay.
Well, I think when you follow a whole foods plant-based diet, your nutrients are pretty well covered across the board.
Right. Do you ever take like supplements then? Can you take supplements? Are those vegan friendly?
You can. Well, you have to be careful though, because you know how some capsules are made of gelatin.
Actually, that's
gelatin.
Right. Nowadays, they actually have like a little label that says it's a vegan friendly and everything.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So like I've been taking B complex and whatever it is right now. So like B12, where do you where do you get your B12
Oh yeah,
from?
I get you can get B12 from fortified products. Like I don't take the fortified cereals, but anything fermented naturally has B12 because the bacteria that's thriving in it. Kimchi is high in B12, tempeh, miso. So I'm a healing diet student under the School of Natural Medicine right now.
Right.
And I'm learning how to create a raw living foods kitchen, and I'm fermenting all sorts of stuff in here. And I've noticed that since I've been trying out my assignments in my healing diet stuff, which includes a lot of fermented stuff, I've noticed that my nails have gotten better.
Nice.
Yeah. So it really, I didn't realize that your body is an amazing
machine.
thing it's an amazing machine, and it tells you what it needs so easily.
Like you can abuse it by the stuff that you put in for so long, but if you get onto a regimented kind of, like in your case it took many years, but now you're seeing the benefits of it, right? Because you're cleaning up your system in a way.
Well, I find that everybody is on the food journey, but it's all subjective, right? So I feel like I'm still learning about my body. Like before I went vegetarian, I didn't know that my body could get any healthier until I went vegetarian. And then all these amazing health benefits popped up. Like I stopped falling asleep at work. I stopped falling sick so often. I had enough energy to run every morning, which didn't happen before. And the only thing I changed was my diet. And then when I went vegan, I didn't think that my body could get any healthier. And then I got more stamina to do marathons and swimathons and all all that stuff. And now as a healing diet student, I thought that veganism is the be all and end all of health, but no, there's so much more ways that you can be healthier. So it's an ongoing journey. And I think for some people who feel like, I don't think I can go vegan, or I don't even think I can reduce my meat because of this, that. And then I tell them, hey, I didn't think about going raw food, raw living foods up until last year. And, and you always surprise yourself when you start exploring things that are uncomfortable. So that's why I feel wherever journey or wherever step on your food journey you're on, it's always relatable.
Let's get to more misconceptions.
Oh,
True or false? Vegan diet is restrictive, not a lot of choices. True or false?
False.
And you can only buy it in the atas
no.
Is that true?
Yeah. No, that's one of the biggest reasons why my advocacy work as a plant-based lifestyle advocate went more towards reestablishing the Malaysian narrative of what it means to be plant-based, because I think it's a practice that we have long forgotten. Like I speak to so many of my Malay friends, and they were saying, "Oh, my nenek would eat mostly plant-based."
Ulam, exactly,
and,
right?
Ulam, and they would only have like the occasional fish or chicken if they could afford it or if they had it. Otherwise, like most of the time, people were plant-based. And I find that Malaysia is a place that Malaysians really take for granted in terms of local fresh produce. We have a plethora of all sorts of superfoods that is not kale and not quinoa and not avocado. We've got the whole range of ulam. We've got like all sorts of amazing jungle produce, exotic fruit, exotic herbs, and it's being so underappreciated. And if anything, being a vegan has really opened my eyes to what is really out there. Like I haven't been such a huge foodie as I am as a vegan. It's really amazing. And once you start exploring, I think when you're a vegan, you shut one door, but then you open up a whole door of like this totally foreign but exciting spectrum of the plant kingdom and what it offers. Something that you would have never bothered to even have a peek into if you're comfortable eating your chicken, your fish, your your red beets and stuff. So when you start exploring, like I haven't stopped exploring, and I'm in my 6th year. I don't think it's ever going to stop. So it's really exciting to find new and exciting produce and new and exciting ways of preparing it to make it tasty and affordable and accessible.
Right. So it's not restrictive. In fact, there's a lot of choice, and it's not. If you want the atas expensive ones, you can, but you don't always have to. Like,
no. Yeah. I mean, you can stock up with your vegan mayo and your vegan cheese, but is that even healthy? You can stock up your whole plant. I can have a whole fridge of plant-based meats, but to me, that's not what the plant-based lifestyle is about, and it's not what veganism is about either for me.
All right, now speaking of plants, right? Here's a big one though. Plants have feelings also. Oh, that's the one that everybody always feels like vegans, right?
Yeah. So where I come from, there are studies that have shown that plants have this show responses when they are under threat. But I think the thing that sets animals apart from plants is a sentience, right? So animals feel pain, they feel torment, they feel despair, they feel sadness. Plants, when they respond to threats, it's more of just a stimuli response. Like how if someone calls my phone rings. That's what it does. Like that's basically like, okay, this is happening, this is how I respond. I press a doorbell, the bell's gonna ring.
Right.
It's more of like that. There is no cognitive processing of pain and sadness and suffering, which is what sentient beings have. So that is where the difference lies. And for me, it's not about canceling out suffering altogether, because it's an imperfect world. Whatever we do in our life as human beings, it's going to cause suffering somewhere else. So it's more about the minimizing of suffering.
Yeah.
Just do your best, lah.
Here's a big one though. Okay. Too much soy is not good for you. And I've read this as well, and I was like, wow, actually, it's true. This is more so for men also in many cases because of the estrogen levels and everything. Or then you grow man boobs and stuff like this. What do you say to that?
Well, too much of anything is bad for you.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. So from my research, I've learned that the estrogen in soy is a phytoestrogen. It's a plant-based estrogen, and it's actually 1,000 times weaker than human estrogen. If
Right.
anything, people should be wary of the estrogen they're ingesting when they eat meat, because that has been pumped into the meat, right? Into the animals as hormones.
Right.
So if anything, there's a bigger threat of you getting man boobs eating meat than you are eating soy. But
That's what's happening to me.
about man boobs, I was curious about it as well. I could only find one medical case after hours of searching, one medical case of a guy getting man boobs from soy,
Too much soy.
but he was drinking 3 liters a day.
Oh wow.
So
What? I don't drink 3 liters of anything. What?
yeah,
That's
right.
crazy.
I don't even drink that in water.
I know, right?
I mean, like, so you really gotta push it to try and get those.
And you
those
must
boobs
really
out.
love soy.
You must really love soy, yeah. Like I love soy, but I don't love it that much. You
Yeah,
know what
yeah.
I mean? So yeah, everything in moderation. And as
Actually,
long as
that's true.
yeah,
Yeah.
and as long as you have a healthy thyroid, I think that you can have soy in moderation with everything else.
Right. Because there's so many studies on soy because there's so many vegetarians now, there's so many vegans that soy plantations and farming has increased, and it's opening up all this land that is just as bad as having land for animals. They would have been free running and everything. So they always say soy cultivation and farming is also not good for the environment. Any thoughts on that?
I'm trying to remember the stats. If I'm not mistaken, over 80% of the world's soy is fed to animals for us to eat.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
All right,
So
okay.
most of it is not even going to us. It's to support the animal farming industry.
So that's another vicious cycle, right? there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So people would think that, soy is a big culprit, but like you don't know where the soy is going to, because the animals have to eat too, and they're being fed the cheapest thing on the planet, which is soy. The corn and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
we're actually clearing out. I think we are using about a third of the world's arable land to grow animals, but
Right.
the food that we create out of this third of arable land is feeding only 15% of the world's dietary needs. So it's not
Right.
a really efficient system.
Right. Okay. Huge misconception there then. All right. And this is going to be iffy for you because humans have been eating animals since the beginning. Why change now? That's what people say, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we have been eating it for so many years, but we didn't consume animals at the rate that we used to, and we
Correct.
didn't raise animals at the way
Yeah.
that we do now. So it's more of like an ethics thing. Now we're raising animals to double their size in a fraction of the time. We're packing all of them into, factory farms, barely
Yeah.
they don't have
In
any
horrible
space to grow.
conditions. you're
Horrible
right,
conditions. It's just like a cesspool of disease and suffering and violence and everything. And I think now we live in really amazing times where we have the option to not eat that stuff. So why not? So
Yeah.
it's more of like, we did used to hunt our own food.
Yeah.
Do most people who love their meat, are they able to bring themselves to kill their own food?
Correct. Yes.
Don't know.
Exactly. Because back in the day, if you wanted food, the most efficient way was men will go to hunt.
Yeah.
And then the women will tend to a small farm at home and everything. That's how it was. But then
Yeah.
you're right. Now we have so many other options. Just walk to a freaking supermarket. You can eat whatever you want, right?
Exactly. And there's a huge disconnect about where food comes from. Like meat just doesn't fall from the sky. People have forgotten the farm to table concept.
Yeah.
They don't know how long it takes. I mean, this is for vegans included. People have forgotten how to grow food. They don't know. They don't have any connection with the earth and the soil.
Yeah. No, it's like, where do you get food? The supermarket. Actually, somebody needed to plant it, or somebody needed to forage for it and everything, right?
Correct. Yeah. Somebody needed to kill that for you.
Okay, here's a big one. Misconception. True or false? And in a way, I think you're going to say it's kind of true also. Right. So vegans, and I'm not saying you, Davina, okay? Vegans are weird hippie type people who are too judgmental.
Am I a hippie type of person?
No,
who's
you're
so
not.
judgmental?
I'm not saying all. I'm not saying all.
Okay,
But
okay.
generally,
Right.
that's what people say about vegans.
Well,
Hmm.
for me, being a vegan is like me making an active choice to be to contribute to a world that I want to live in, right? Living in a world of compassion, of peace, of health for everybody. So people who think that vegans are weird, but they're drinking titty milk from cows, meant for baby cows, eating chicken periods. And I mean, now I'm using like proper vegan language, but it really helps to put things in perspective, because I'm seeing like people who think that vegans are weird, are eating, you know, are eating food that promotes violence, that promotes suffering, that promotes rape, that promotes climate change, that promotes deforestation and loss of habitat and global warming and a whole slew of modern day diseases like cancer and obesity and heart disease and what have you. Like, and they don't think it being weird. Like, the only reason I think people think that vegans are weird is because we're the minority for now. And minority makes us the outsider. And the reason why people haven't jumped on it is because they're terrified of change. And it's totally understandable. People like comfort. We're creatures of comfort. Where our meat eating culture is ingrained from generations and generations of us doing just that. But times have changed, and like the rate that we're eating meat is just not sustainable anymore, and it's not ethical, and it doesn't support our quality of life. So I think when people start to lean into the discomfort of, okay, I think what I'm doing can afford to be I think I can afford to put more power of a vote into what I eat every single day. I think once people start acknowledging that they have that power and practicing that power, I think it will no longer be weird. It will just be the norm. So that's what
Are
my
you
take
on a
is.
mission though to change the world, everyone to be vegan?
No, I don't think there's like, if any vegan who decides that is digging themselves a hole.
Because, and I've met them before, I've met some
I'm so
vegans,
sorry.
and they
On behalf
and-
of the vegans, I'm so sorry.
no, exactly, and there's nothing to be sorry for, because I know for a fact that there are also others who are
Yeah.
meat eaters, and these are like the people who probably, in a way, they jump on bandwagons very easily, right? They get onto something, and I'm like, it could be. They could just as well be, oh my God, how can you not be a Taylor Swift fan? I'm going to change you, and I want you to be a Taylor Swift fan or be a Beyonce fan. Very much the same way as like they'll go to
Stan
they'll get into this.
culture.
Exactly. How can you
Yeah.
not be vegan? Do you know how many, everything you say,
Yeah.
it's a crusade for them to just pounce on you. There
Right,
are
right.
people who are like
yeah.
that, though, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And they give a really
Yeah.
bad name to
Yeah.
other vegans.
Yeah. I think it doesn't need to be said, because everyone knows why veganism is great.
Yeah.
A lot of people are just it's a defense mechanism.
Yeah.
But for me, preaching about it, that's not my style. It could work for, I believe there's enough space in this world for every kind of vegan, and there's enough people in this world to be able to choose a vegan that they can resonate with.
Yeah.
So what was your question about this?
No, I mean, like, cause have you met these creepy, like crusader type vegans though?
I've seen them on the social media.
Right? Yeah.
I mean, I think I know of them, but I haven't experienced it firsthand. I think because I try my best to be civil and I don't get into that conversation with them. I mean, we're on the same team. There's no reason for them to pick a fight with me.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So but I do hear stories, and I do see a lot of trolling on the internet, and I think it's just, I mean, it could work if you're inclined to respond to that kind of thing. But yeah, most of us, we already know. I mean, it's pretty much out there. Yeah. And we don't need that kind of guilt tripping. If anything, it's just going to dig your heels closer into the sand and think,
right.
Like how my husband told me that while he was a smoker, he would see those warning things on the cigarette packs saying that cigarette smoking causes cancer. He'll get so stressed out about it, he'll smoke double.
Oh, is that what happens?
Yeah, apparently it's like a psychological thing. Like if you're being told to not do something because it's bad for you, and you're doing it,
you do it even more. Yeah.
And you do it even more because that's all you know.
I had some friends who were even worse. They would collect the different diseases on the packs. So you
Oh
get
my
like,
God.
I know. So hey, I got this particular one. I'm gonna get this one, and then I have a set. I'm like, what is
Oh my
wrong
God.
with you, dude? That's not the point of why they put those pictures on their packaging.
Well, I guess that's looking for the good.
I know exactly. So I'm like, dude, this world has all
Oh,
kinds of people in it. You know what I mean? So yeah,
man.
but that was very scary for me. But
Oh.
I'm not saying like all vegans are the crusader type ones. You get crusader types everywhere for all
Yeah,
types of
yeah,
subjects
yeah.
and everything, right? But
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's for every kind of cause out there, there will always be the person who's going to, who's a bit more extreme than the rest.
yeah, but you
Yeah.
want to, in a way, you are converting people, not trying to, but you are converting people just by the way you live your life, I suppose. Because
Well,
you look healthier.
well, thank you. Well, it's
You
not
know?
my intention it's not my job to convert people. Like
Yep.
I'm just doing like when I go eat out with people and they have the chicken cordon bleu in front of me and they'll say, "Oh, I'm so sorry." Like, it's not my problem what you eat. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
offended at all. Like, I'm
Yeah.
really happy with my vegan lasagna. Like, so I feel like regardless of whether I like to or not, just me being vegan without even saying anything makes me an activist.
Right. Exactly.
And it just if anyone wants to seek tips or advice and they ask me, they go out of their way to ask for tips and encouragement, I will definitely come in and say, here are my pom-poms, I'm going to cheer you on.
Right.
And but I'm not going to go out and say
Only if
everyone
you
needs
want
to
to
do
change,
this.
right?
Only if you want to.
Yeah,
Because I can't. I mean, I've been trying to get my mom to go plant-based for health, like for God knows how long. But it's in the end,
Yeah.
you can't change everybody, and it's not my job. It's no one's job. The only person who will be able to change anybody is themselves. So if they're ready for it, then yeah, I would totally be there for you. Yeah.
Like, in a way, it's great that you mentioned that because I've wanted to do this for so long, and I've kind of like dabbled into being vegetarian and whatnot, right? How do I do it? What's the first step to being vegan?
Oh gosh. Well, everyone has their own jalan, I guess.
Do I
about how
start
they wanna
cutting
go
out certain
vegan.
things first, or
I think it's really about exploring what would work for you. I mean, like if some people, like what we were talking about, some people can go cold turkey and they have no problem with
that's
it.
not me.
Yeah.
I will fall off the wagon so quickly, Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is so hard, cannot,
Yeah,
I want my char siu,
Yeah. What I recommend most of the time is like whatever meat intake you're having right now, you just you either reduce it per plate or you set out a plan like meatless Mondays, or you have like you commit to having like a meatless breakfast every day, or like so you just try and find out a system that works for you, and overall just whatever a volume of meat you have, just take it out bit by bit and replace it more with plants like legumes,
I eat a
grains, and all
lot
that stuff.
of meat, so that's the thing.
Oh, okay.
So I'm
Right.
thinking 50%, and then after that, the next month I'll do another 50%, and then
Okay.
the month is that a good plan? Is that workable?
I don't know. I mean, I haven't done it myself. I mean, it's always worth a shot. And if that doesn't
Right.
work, that's totally fine. You can try another way.
Yeah.
It's all about
I want
it's all about
to.
exploring.
Yeah. And if I
Yeah.
fail that way,
Yeah.
I'll try another way, right?
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah. Because if your purpose is there, you're gonna find a way in anyway.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah, like if your purpose is there, and I think that's what's important as well. Like finding your purpose and falling back on it constantly when you feel a little bit of doubt.
Yeah. Because if I'm gonna do this, trying to save the world, environmentally and whatnot, and everything that comes with it, that means animal cruelty, everything's part of it, right?
Yeah.
I need to walk the talk. You know what I mean? So I have to do it. So that's right. That's great. The purpose.
Yeah.
I have the purpose. I want to do it. And then I go, hey, where to find all this vegan stuff?
Yeah.
I don't know where to start. Where do I buy this stuff?
Yeah.
So where do you shop?
Oh, where do I shop?
Right here in KL? Or do you order online? Do you get stuff sent over?
It's a mix and match, I think. There are I go to a lot of like there's this app called Everleaf, and they stock a
Everly?
lot of organic produce, fresh produce.
Okay.
It's an app and it's a website as well.
Oh wait, it's a local app or is that
It's a
international one?
local app.
Right.
Yeah. Like I'm in Damansara, so I go to a little market here in Uptown called Fruits Farm in the city.
Okay.
Every I think technically all of the fresh local produce is default organic. It's just not outwardly labeled organic.
Okay.
But I know the guy there who's the farmer and the owner of the shop. So I get a lot of my fresh local produce there, and that's where I get to explore some vegetables that I've never heard of. Like sometimes, every so often, he'll bring something from Sabah. Like this is from the swamps. Like,
Wow.
oh, okay, let me try that.
Have you checked out what the hell's that place called? Medi Foods?
Medifoods.
Yeah.
Yeah. I used to be a regular customer in the Taman Tun branch.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah,
And they have one in
they had a
Subang,
great.
if I'm not mistaken, as well. They have it everywhere.
Subang. Yeah.
'cause They actually have their own farm and everything, right?
Yeah, they do. They do.
Yeah.
And in Subang, I also go to this place called Organic Vegetarian Fresh Martin Restaurant.
Yeah.
It's facing the highway. Do you know where Le Food is in SS Wada? 15 or 18, I can't remember now.
Le Foods?
Le Food.
Not sure.
Great vegetarian restaurant.
Okay, I guess we can. I think in this day and age, you can Google anything.
Yeah, you can.
Right, and then it'll show you a
Yeah.
map, and you can actually just get there, right? And it doesn't need to be expensive. At some of these places,
Yeah.
you can actually get really organic stuff that's really cheap as well, right? So
Yeah,
okay,
yeah. And so those are some few examples of where I go get my produce, but quite more often than not, I just go to the local market or the pasar malam and I just get, my vegetables and all that. I think it's an incredibly empowering thing to learn how to cook.
yeah,
I think that's
exactly.
a huge step in order to, like, much to many people's chagrin, I think learning how to cook is actually a really important part of taking the next step in being more plant-based, because
Right.
that's when you start really exploring what your body responds to and taking control of what you're putting in your body.
Right.
Because when you start making your own food and you compared to going out, you realize how, like, the extent that some restaurants will go to in order to make your food tasty and keep you coming back.
Right.
Because when you try and make that food at home, it's not going to be half as tasty. So it makes you wonder how much salt, how much oil, how much sugar.
Correct. Exactly. Dude, that's the thing. Sometimes nowadays, because I eat at home a lot.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And when I do go out, I'm like, hey, once in a while, let's just go out. La.
Yeah.
And more often than not nowadays, I go and I'm like, ooh, what's going on with the flavors here? Because again, I think my brain and my tongue has gotten so used to eating at home.
Yeah.
That
Right.
now everything I have outside is overly tasty, right?
Yeah.
It's either too sweet or it's too
Yeah.
salty or whatever it is, right?
Yeah. Everything's firing off like, oh my God, this is
Yeah.
crack.
Exactly. And it's
Yeah.
too much. And I come back with a little tick. And I'm like, I think I had too much of this, you know what I mean? So you're right. But you do get used to less salt, less sugar, less, and also
Yes.
no MSG, I suppose. You know what I
Correct.
mean?
Yeah. So this is where I would like to bring up the thing about people asking me, do I miss meat? I
Yeah.
actually don't. And people freak out because they cannot imagine a world in their
Without
life
meat.
that doesn't have meat. And they
Yeah.
cannot compute this. Like, how does this person not even eat meat, let alone not even think about it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because my palate does not crave it. I don't even think about it. Like,
Yeah.
for me, if I think about making kolomi at home, I don't think about how to veganize it. It's not even a thought process
Yeah.
of like, okay, it has meat. How do I change it into something vegan? That's not my process anymore, because it's not even in my mind how to veganize things, because vegan is my default.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not substituting anything. Everything is just an ingredient to you that I'm gonna put this, I'm
Yeah.
gonna put that, right?
Yeah, like learning a new language, right?
Right.
Like if you've grown up learning this language your whole life,
Correct.
you don't have that process of like, okay, taking that language, putting it in here. What does it mean? How do I answer this person in this language? Like, I don't have that thought process
Okay,
anymore.
so it's fully immersive. Immerse yourself in it,
Yes.
and then you live that life.
Yeah, Correct.
Like language. Okay, that
Yeah.
just went straight through me. I completely got it right there.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm one step closer.
Yay!
I'm a working
You're
I'm
a
a
work in
work in progress. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I
Yeah,
want
everyone
to.
is.
Yeah, and I will
Yeah.
stumble and I will fall. It's like
Yeah.
me and beer. Sometimes I'm like, beer is so bad for you, no? I cannot, the stomach getting bigger and everything. So I'll stop for a while and then I'll go back to it. And I know it's bad for me, but I still do it.
Yeah.
But
Hey, man, I'm trying to fight a sleeping late problem. Everyone has their own vices, man.
right, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, I've written on my fridge, I can read it right here. No phone and in bed by midnight. I broke that on the second day.
That is brilliant. Oh my god. I think I gotta start writing stuff on my fridge, man. Okay. I'm gonna schedule meatless days. for
Yeah.
myself. I like that.
Yeah. When you put it out there, you put it out in the universe, you're manifesting it, and that levels up a bit of your commitment there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then also you feel the guilt because you're like, oh,
Yeah.
I put it up there. I better
Yeah.
follow through
Right,
with
right.
it. Right?
Yeah. You're accountable to yourself. If you
Right.
say it out on social media, even better.
Actually, you know what? Like I know you, and also the guy from the Jantan Collective, TL is also vegan already. My brother is vegan.
Oh, sweet. I didn't know that.
So everybody around me is vegan, and if I needed any help, I can always just call you or call anyone else that I know, call my brother and speak to him. But many people, like
Don't
when
have
you first
that.
got into it, they don't have that support system, you know. So
I didn't have that.
are there any websites now or any groups online that or Facebook groups that are like vegan Malaysia or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah, there are several now, and they're still mushrooming. So there's the first one that popped up, I think, here was Malaysian vegan. Now there's like Kuala Lumpur vegans and this is all on Facebook. So there's several. There's like vegans in Malaysia, and you just type in Malaysia vegan. There will be several. There's even like little ones for like Penang. I think there's one for Borneo. And there's like little support groups as well. Even the vegetarian ones are reliable sources as well. But what I find that's a bit dangerous about those groups is it attracts all the keyboard warriors.
Oh,
so you have to be,
so it's not a closed group.
It's an open group. It's a public group. Right. But yeah, you know, Facebook attracts all sorts of personalities.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of meandering around those kinds of comments and that kind of content.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I think that's a very important part of the process, right?
It is having that support group. Yeah.
But sometimes you feel like you're a silo. You're alone in this, right?
Yeah. Like spiritual solitude.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have Clubhouse? We're on Clubhouse now.
I'm an Android guy. That's a thing. I know. Now there's an Android app that fakes Clubhouse that you can get into it or something. But I haven't tried it yet. Apparently it's like, but it's not a legal software or something like that. So I'm like, I don't know about that. But I'm not. Okay. I'm not a Clubhouser at the moment.
Right. Okay. Yeah, because that's what we've been doing.
I'm on Telegram.
Telegram?
Is there a Telegram group for vegans?
Not that I know of.
That will be my little homework. I will search for a vegan group in Malaysia that's on Telegram.
Yeah, maybe.
Websites though. What else can I? Is there one particular website that we can all go to check out how to like just get into veganism? What's the app that you told me?
Is this where I pitch my own website?
Yeah, you can. Oh my God, do that right now. Yeah.
Yeah, you can go to davina.vegan.com.
That's DAVINA.
DA, vegan, VEGAN. So I share recipes of maybe like I take an international recipe and I make it a bit more accessible by using fresh local produce, or I take a Malaysian recipe, well loved, and then I make it vegan.
Nice.
And then I also share. I haven't done it in a while because of pandemic. Like places where you can eat really good vegan food in the Klang Valley. And I've once in a while, I've also been interviewing Malaysians whose lives have changed for the better on a vegan diet.
Wow. So that means at some point I might be on that show on the little thing.
Hey,
you never know, man.
I'm going to reserve a spot for you.
Oh, okay, I tell you what. So step one is this.
So yes. Yeah. It is, because you know what? It's I got a lot of I got a lot of criticism for eating that because it's technically not vegan because of the oil. It's been cooked in the same oil as a chicken. But for me, that's where my role as a plant-based lifestyle advocate conflicts with me being a vegan. As a vegan, I won't touch that. But I want to share options. I want to make it more mainstream. So my job as an advocate is to introduce people to options that they have.
Right.
So if me eating 1-0 chicken burger for my whole life, if that could mean encouraging 10 Malaysians to try the corn burger, it means 10 chickens saved.
Right.
So I'm thinking about the forest for the trees. Yeah. Wait, is that I'm not seeing the forest for the trees, or I'm seeing the forest for the trees?
You're can't see the forest for the
I'm looking at the bigger picture.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Let's stick to that one.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? On that though, there's this particular meat, and I don't know whether it's Singapore or somewhere, right? That they've created in a lab. That no animals were harmed. I don't have the exact literature with me right now.
Okay.
But it's meat. It's real meat. And people have been trying it.
Yeah.
If that were to be available, would you try it? It's meat. They don't deny that it's not meat. It's full on meat. But no animals technically were harmed in the production of this particular patty or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Would you try that?
No.
Ever?
No. I mean, it's not even an ethics thing. It's just because I don't.
Right.
Yeah, like I've been living without meat for like 10 years. There's no reason for me to try it.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll tell you what. I'll try it on your behalf.
Yeah, please do. Let me know how it goes.
On my journey.
Yeah, totally. No, yeah.
Right.
Like I'm totally for like sustainable ways of growing meat. I'm all up for like growing insects for protein.
I love that. I actually know a guy in Johor who actually farms insects for food.
Yeah.
And then there's like this, I can't remember, I think it was crickets that can be made into flour,
like
and then people have made
powder,
bread.
right?
And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like insect bread? That's brilliant.
Yeah. So I like the ethical part of me will not eat it. I won't promote it. But if the part of the vegan in me that is doing for sustainable reasons totally vouches for that.
Yeah, because that means you don't have this. There's an abundance of this particular insects or whatever it is, right? So it's an alternative, right?
It is an alternative.
This lifestyle, I want to get into it, and to be honest, my mom has been great at this, right? Because like my brother is vegan, so now she's like, she never used to be this way before, but now she's like, hey, I can, this chicken dish I used to make that you used to love, I can make it with tofu or something like that.
Right?
Now. So now she's getting into it. That means my life is already,
you have all the resources. Yeah. It's just a matter of you saying yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear this, JD.
I've always wanted to be. I just keep falling off the damn wagon. That's the only thing. You know? So I'm trying to get back on it, and because you said it's all about. I mean, you're super healthy. You're for crying out loud. For anybody who doesn't remember, Davina was in the newspapers last time, in the news for like crazy for doing crazy swimming stunts, and also she actually went to a Shaolin temple to learn how to do kung fu. This woman can do it all, and she's a vegan. So if you're thinking she's not fit and everything, that's proof of it. So why, Davina, before you go, why should we all? And I know you're not big on the crusading thing, right? But why should we all opt for a vegan diet?
I think if you value your health, if you want to live a life of kindness, if you want to live a life that, you want to have I'll tell you why I do it. So I do it because I want to, if I can afford to live my optimal quality of life and do so while inflicting as little suffering as possible on the planet, while not contributing to a world with climate change that will affect future generations to come. And if I have children, if I can live a life that doesn't burden them with diseases that could have been completely avoided on just because of the food that I chose, why not? And it's so accessible now. It's for me, at least, I found a way to make it affordable and accessible. It just makes sense, like it resonates completely with everything I want in this world. I want You know, I love the environment. I love animals. I value my health. I value my loved ones. I value my sanity and my health and my mental health, and just wanting to be free of guilt and clutter that, you know, and wanting to connect with what it really means to be human. That's why I'm vegan. So it could really, why should people go vegan? I don't know. Well, to me, it just makes sense. If it makes sense to you, even a smidgen, I think that's a good path to start on.
That is brilliant. We're going to end on that note. That was absolutely brilliant. I'm really happy that we got to do this chat. Thank you so much for sharing all that with us.
Thank you too. I really appreciate it.
So what do you think about veganism? Would you get into it? Would you tell your friends about it? Would you try the zero chicken burger? Do comment below because we want to hear from you. But it's been great to have a chat and find out more about it. And I tell you what, who knows? I might be vegan as well soon. All right. Thank you for watching. And as usual, don't be a dick.